Hi, everybody. This is Darian Wigfall, the Director of Operations for FarFetched, here with Nato Caliph. Say what's up, sir.
Peace. How are you?
Good, man. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking some time. I know everything's wild these days, so, people's schedules can vary a lot. But I'm doing these artist talks with artists from St. Louis, in and out of St. Louis, mainly based from here. Just talking to them about what's going on during this COVID-19 shutdown, and just like talking to them about their art and music that they're creating right now. So, um, first things first, just yeah, how did you react when everything with coronavirus kind of came down, and then the shutdown orders started to come?
Well, I'm a big user of Twitter, and so I get a lot of news. I get like as far as like breaking news and things like that. It's on Twitter. So when I was kind of following it probably early February, or I say late July, late January, early February.
Okay.
And basically, I started seeing some of the videos and things like that. And I even called my mother because I normally have never, she travels. My mother travels a lot, but I told her I was like, "Ma, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna need you to stay put for a second because this
Mm.
is this is looking real. Like everything I've been seeing video wise and all that stuff." And she was like, "Okay, son, you've never, in your whole life, never asked me to, do anything, or you never had any real concern like this." And so she
Mm.
took my advice, and then a week later, it was like she started seeing more and more. So it was serious.
Wow. Word up. So you're an artist. Did you continue to create through that time, or was there a period where you kind of slowed down, or how did you respond to that creatively?
Basically, I was just saying like normally for me, like I write a lot anyway, but like when this happened, it was like I had even more focused and forced time at home and things
Mm.
like that. So I was just like I started reaching out to producers that I trust and work with that know me and things like that. And I was like, could you send me some beats? Because I've been listening to things over and over
Yeah.
and like other people's beats, like that Jay Electronica and Jay Z. There's one song in
Yeah.
particular that I literally wrote two whole songs to like a 40-second loop of that.
Okay.
It's it's just been insane for me. Like I need little inspiration to be
Hmm.
honest, but like when I have it,
Just
it's out of
flows
there.
out.
Yeah.
That's great, man. I've talked to a lot of artists through this program, and a lot of folks seem to kind of take a little bit of a step back. But I'm glad that for you, this was kind of like all right, let's go full go now. Because I personally like your music. I know that you talk about a lot of like positive messages and like supreme mathematics and things like that. Can you kind of tell us where that comes from? Is that part of your life? Like, did you grow up like that, or like, yeah, where did the consciousness come from that comes out in your music? Because I feel like it's a reflection of you more than it's just like I want to make this kind of music.
Right. No, I appreciate that question. So like a lot of people, I was influenced by like Wu Tang and things like that. But my initial start into hip hop was like way back in '87. Telling my
Okay.
age here. I heard Rakim, and it
Mm,
was just like from there, it just kind of that was the reason I was inspired to rap. So
mm,
basically, when I really started to dig into lyrics later, I went back and was like, what was he really saying? And so that kind of led me down the path of kind of figuring out, okay, this is what he was talking about. And so that's when I started studying more and reaching out to people who were connected to those types of things and the culture, the Nation of Gods and Earth culture.
mm,
I was already kind of gravitating towards that from a thought perspective and a mind state perspective. But then it
mhm,
became like it was just like a natural fit for the way that I move and I operate in the way I think. So that, of course, my music started to reflect that. But when I first started writing, like from a serious standpoint, I was living like I was writing before this, but when I started doing it, like, okay, I'm going to do this seriously. I was living with my grandparents. My mother relocated to Houston, and so I was
mhm.
in high school, and they had this policy. I don't know if you know about um, older generation, but they like you don't pay bills in this house, you don't close the door. So basically, I
Mm.
was like I had to rap with my door open, so that meant, of course, no cursing, no profanity, no
Wow.
like that. So I trained myself not to use that. Plus, I was once told like if you have to use curse words, people use curse words when they don't have anything better to say. And I was always
Mm,
like of the mindset that I always had something better to say. So I left
mm.
all that out. So that kind of helped me down that quote unquote conscious path as well. But
Word.
Yeah, the Wu Tang, the Rakims of the world, the Big Daddy Kanes, things like that. That kind of helped push me that gangstar in that
Mm,
realm, and then so yeah,
super dope. And shout out to grandparents, man. A lot of times, those are the folks that give us the best lessons. Our parents give us stuff, but you don't want to listen to them all the time. So when Granny says, "It's like, all right, I know she's not
right,
gonna, tell me anything wrong, and she's coming from the best place." So that's dope.
right.
So can you tell me maybe some of the things that you miss most about this period right now, not being able to move freely, or is there anything that you miss or have been missing right now?
I will say the shows definitely interacting with my peers,
Hmm.
being able to be supportive of their music and seeing them perform. Because we all make each other better. Steel sharp as steel, and we see it. And I know a lot of artists say, "Well, I don't listen to anybody. I don't," yeah, right. Everybody's influenced by someone. Everybody hears something that triggers a thought or something like that. So
Hmm.
that's why I said I'm always constantly like writing and inspired by something because I'm always hearing something. And so it can inspire me in one or two ways. It can tell me like that's nice and you should, kind of go along that kind of road, or it's like
Hmm.
completely stay away from it. And sometimes it's like stay away from it, make sure you're not sounding like this. But that's kind of how it is. So not being able to go out and not being able to be around my peers and see that kind of stuff, that definitely, it's one of the biggest things I miss.
I feel that. Has that also affected? So you got a new project out called The Build, is that right? Yeah, has that affected how you've been able to move and promote that, or like, is everything still kind of going according to plan? And can you talk
It
about the project a little
has It has domestically for sure.
bit?
Internationally, usually when I drop something, they kind of get it and run with it, which
Mm,
I love because they need very little. You just need to let them know it exists. Like I,
mm,
a core group of people, like in Italy and in Russia, that just kind of seem to jump on like everything.
mm,
But locally, like domestically, should I say, I don't know if it's an attention span thing or it's just too much out there or available or whatever, but you kind of got to stay on top of it. So
mm,
yes, being the whole stay at home and not being able to get out there, it definitely affects it more.
yeah.
And for me directly, like I'm really big into visuals and trying to shoot videos, and so with things being shut down, it was like harder to go shoot videos. So now
Hmm.
I'm trying to rethink creative ways to do them like at home. And
Mm,
I have an online show that I'm doing, my first online show next Friday, and I
okay.
wanted to release something prior to that, like almost like a promo video. But then it's like because I get to shoot it, and then if they come over, have children, or they,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So it's just a lot to consider. The videos have been really stifled with everything being shut down.
I feel that. Can you talk about the build a little bit? Talk about any of the themes, any dope features that you are really excited about, and just like generally what you're excited about the project.
Sure. Yeah. So the build is my eighth album, my eighth LP. In the Supreme Mathematics, that's what's represented. It's to build and destroy. And so the
Mm,
build represents that eighth project, and it also means to add on the things that are positive and take away things that are negative. So when you
mm,
build and destroy, that's essentially what you're doing. That's why it's eight, like that
circle.
infinity symbol, so to speak. So it's in a nutshell, it was adding on to quote unquote the legacy of the music that I've been creating. Like all of my
Hmm.
albums are connected, and like if you notice the build, every track spells out the build. So it's like there's the
Wow.
loaded songs on there, and Us is on there, and things like that, which are two songs that I'm really excited about.
Mhm.
Us was so, supposed to be like my next single. I did kind of get it to radio right before everything kind of kicked off, but
Yeah.
I wanted to do the visuals for that, which I still plan on doing, but like I said, things kind of got shut down for that.
Hmm.
Um, but the album, more or less, is just like it's about continuing that connection to what I had, and also kind of foreshadowing what's to come. So
Okay.
originally, I had been telling people that the seventh album, God album, was going to be maybe my last, and then
Mm,
just I'm always writing again, so it's kind of like
it's part
I
of
didn't
you.
want to say definitely my last, or but I was considering it just because at the time, I've done everything by myself, independent artist. I put everything out. I was still doing the whole CDs, and I wanted to put it on vinyl, which I plan on doing for this project. And
Mhm.
so it was just like with everything going on, it just kind of made things a little different. But I'm still here. I'm still doing it all. But then when I dropped the God album, I was like, I'm still writing. So the build naturally just kind of filled itself out. So,
Okay.
and now the ninth album is almost done because it's
Wow.
just yeah.
That's super dope. Can you tell us anything about the ninth album, or we're gonna keep that under wraps for now?
Well, I will say this. It's definitely dealing with our ninth principle and our supreme math, which is born. But
Mhm.
an album is not just four tracks. So to be born is to exist. So
Mm.
existence is what I'm really kind of building out there. And it's not just about like to exist and do nothing with yourself. It's like
Mm.
you're existing, you do exist, but what are you doing with it? And that's really, you can talk about things you've done, or you can talk about where you are and where you want to go, but it's about existence. So what are you doing with that?
Word up. Yeah, I really truly believe that everybody has a divine purpose. And, a lot of people are just out here kind of floating, either just taking what the world gives to them, or, working a job they hate, or, whatever. And I really appreciate that you are helping people get in the mind frame of, hey, you are able to self actualize. Maybe you should start pursuing that, you know, and you're doing it yourself. It's not like you're just preaching it and telling people to do it, but you're doing it yourself, like with the music, with being a great father, with being an activist. Like, you seem to be going after things with passion, and I appreciate that. And that's what I see in people with purpose. I just appreciate all of your efforts to wake people up. You know what I mean?
Thanks for
Um,
noticing.
for sure, for sure. Actually, can you speak to some of the activism that you're doing or currently involved in? Is there any like things you're working on now?
Oh yes, for sure. So I am an active member and a leadership council member of the Organization for Black Struggle, which is the longest running social justice organization in St. Louis. We just
Mhm.
celebrated 40 years this past winter in February, and basically we're here for the people, you know,
Mm.
and it doesn't matter, about all the other kind of shiny things that people really want to make stuff about. We're really out here for the people every day, all day. Right now, in specific, dealing with the COVID thing, we set up free testing out
Oh
in
wow.
Ferguson for COVID testing. We have a drive up testing situation. So we have only one of two in all of North County right now where we do free COVID-19 testing. And all you do is drive up, we do a nasal swab and a oral swab, and you get your results within 72 hours. And we just got a patch with a group of guys that have the antibody test. So
Mm.
which will give you your results within 24 hours. Actually, it's like 15 minutes, but we asked 24 hours. So we're doing that, and basically, it's a lot of people that we're talking about the disparities in access to healthcare and things like that. So we partner with the Ezekiel Elliott Foundation. The Ezekiel Elliott Foundation said, "Hey, we'll go half with you guys and pay for the test for the people who do not have insurance and things like that." We are still looking for funding, but I'm out there with the nurses every morning, um,
Okay.
between Tuesday and Thursday, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m.
Mm.
We are testing people right then and there. And, it puts it right front and center when you see like people driving up and have babies, and we have to stick that
Wow.
Q-tip, that swab way up in their nose, and the baby is screaming and things like that. And some people are just wanting to get back to work, so they have to get a test just to get a piece of paper to go back to work. We've had doctors come to us because they couldn't even get it at their
Mm.
own hospital. They either it was a
Wow.
shortage on tests, or it was just too packed and overwhelmed. So they come driving up to us and say, "Hey, I can't get tested at my own hospital. I need to get tested with you guys." So we've done that, and it's been really. Last week, for the first time, we took the test to the people. We drove up and we pitched a tent. We set up shop in Oakmont, um, apartment complex, townhome and apartment complex out in Ferguson, right, which is Canfield adjacent. And so
Hmm.
we've been doing a lot of that. We're back out there tomorrow,
Okay.
and that's pretty much what all things around like helping people get tested that aren't normally able to get tested.
Man, that's super dope. It's sad to hear about the doctors needing to come to y'all and not being able to get it at their hospital, but I'm glad that you're providing that resource either way so that all the people that need it can get it. Shoot, I might end up going up there just to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, come on out. Come on out.
Really?
Like seriously, like, I would tell people like, come on out.
That's
Like
what's up.
everybody I run, hey, if you know people that want to get tested, we're doing it.
Will do. Thank you for that. Thank you for doing that work too, for real. Um, so what are some of the things that you're doing these days to keep your spirit alive, or do you have any sort of like words of encouragement for artists out there struggling in this period?
I think right now more than anything is a time for reflection. You know, like
Mm,
really dig into self, see what motivates you. If there was a book you've been meaning to read, get to it. Like I've
mm,
never done the audiobook thing. I like to touch the pages. I like to make notes,
me too.
and I'm always reading like 3 to 4 books. Actually, I'm like currently doing like 7 at a time right now. And I would just like to really try to get into reading, and then also figure out, get just more time to yourself as far as like get outside when you can. Like I've been working out more. It was funny. I just
Mhm.
re-signed up for a gym membership with the children at the Y, and then this hit, and so we
Mm,
we went like 2 nights, and then they shut the gym down, the Y down. But we go on runs as a family, and so that's been good. I haven't been this regularly active in a while physically, and so now I'm running like 2 miles every day, and
wow.
whether I go at 5 a.m. or go at almost midnight, it's kind of quiet. It's real still outside. So
Mm,
when I go late at night, I don't take the children. When we do the park, we walk, and then I run. So it's been really, really good. But then that's when I think of more music and stuff like
mm,
that. So
hmm.
yeah.
Those quiet times. That's really great that you do it as a family. Man, that's beautiful. So when this is over, is there any place that like you've been thinking about that you want to visit that you're not able to go to right now?
Oh wow. There are actually quite a few places. So definitely will tell my age. This year I'll be 40, and so I've been out of the country, so to speak. I went to Toronto before, but I've never been like destination that I was like just itching to get to. So I said for my 40th, I'm leaving the country,
Mm,
and I mean that may be changed based on how things are now, of course. But I even got the children's passports. I got my 3-year-old his passport, and I was like, we're going out of the country. We're definitely getting out of here and doing something. But as far as when, that's the only kind of issue. So one of the places I was looking to go was Guatemala. I was looking at that prior to everything kicking off, just because of some of my family is, they've been going back and forth there. So
mm,
something on this side of the hemisphere, but I also want to get all, on the other side. So just
word.
mm.
So what's your family doing down in Guatemala? Is that like a service thing or is just like y'all like
I
take
have an
trips?
aunt that's a flight attendant. She's been with the airline industry for a long time, and she just goes back and forth to like South and Central America a lot.
Okay.
And he was just say, hey, maybe for your birthday, or anything, you want to go and get out of town. I'm gonna allow you some passes or whatever to go do that. And so
Right.
she visits family and friends too. But they did like a
Mm,
location wedding one time and things like that, a couple times actually. So now, like, and that's why I said my mother, she and my mom like travel a lot. So my aunt and my mom, they just. I'm
ah,
like, hey, mom, where are you? She's like, oh, we're in Rio. And then I talk to her, oh, we're in Lima. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. So, but of course, when this kicked off, they haven't been going anywhere. So now they're like, well, I know you want to leave. So
right. So when's your birthday?
August 9th,
Oh wow, that's crazy.
the day Mike Brown
Man.
got killed.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's anybody, and it's interesting because that date, anytime anybody says that date, it just triggers when Mike Brown was killed for me, unfortunately. But I'm glad that like something can be celebrated on that day too. So if you're in town, let me know. I'll come to wherever you're at and celebrate with you, bro. But if,
I
I hope
appreciate
you're
it.
able to get out of town, but we'll see.
Right. Well, I know the last, at first, immediately preceding his death, those first few years, I definitely didn't do anything but all things, you know, being participatory in like social justice and just being active out there, dealing with
Actions.
with all things Mike Brown. So I didn't really start to get into, and I never honestly did much on my birthdays anyway. I just always make it about family and just being around family and hanging out with friends and things like that. Like I dropped albums on my birthday. I wanted to give something to the people on my birthday. I know for my 30th, I dropped an album. I was in Vegas, but I dropped the album and I wanted to put it out and stuff like that. So this will be the first time I'm kind of doing a little something for me. But yeah, ever since Mike Brown, that's become like our new Arnold Domini, so to speak, and
Hmm.
AD for St. Louis at least. And so, like kind of like 9/11 was for the country. And so, I
Hmm.
definitely, you know, August 9th is
Man,
a big day for real, man.
for real. So do you think anything positive can come out of what's going on right now?
You talking about COVID,
Yeah,
or
COVID and just like the stay-at-home orders, having to shelter in place and things like that.
I do. I think, like I said, there's definitely going to be this like re-synergy, like this synergizing of just like what's important. Like I think
Mhm.
people are going to really start getting back to the core values, and people have to start like communicating better. Like it's forcing you to kind of really look at communication. If nothing else, like you have time to really like listen and think about what's being said and things that are being. It's not just everybody's just go 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 go. Now you actually
Yeah.
have to kind of sit still and like, wait a minute, you let things kind of resonate, let things kind of soak in. And I try to do that. I try to practice that all the time anyway. But
Mhm.
with between social media and family and jobs and all that stuff, it's kind of like it's hard to do. So now with working from home and I'm just here, okay, you got pockets of moments where you just like you can just kind of reflect and just think
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Those still moments. Yeah, for sure. So I think we're gonna wrap it up, but before we go, can you tell people where to find the build, any of your older albums, and OBS, and anything else you want to plug?
Well, definitely OBS, STL.org is definitely out there. You can check that out. It's org.org. And for me, as far as my music, it's pretty much anywhere that streaming. I know when I set it up with like CD Baby and some other sites, it's they ask me, do you want this available on all platforms or anything that's sales only? And I'm like, put it out there for
Hmm.
everybody. So anywhere there's music, iTunes, of course, Spotify, it's Google Play, wherever music's available, they
Hmm.
have it. Like even Amazon has it, Walmart, whether they're digital things I've seen like here and there. It's on some. I have a cousin that whenever it pops up on these other little radio internet apps or whatever internet radio apps, it pops up there. So College Radio has it. It's definitely on my website, natocaliph.com.
Hmm.
And I encourage people to of course stream, listen to it. You can stream it for free on my site. Um, or you want to help me out, put a few pennies in my pocket here and there. You can stream it wherever you listen to music. So when I say pennies, I literally mean pennies. They take so
Yeah,
much,
Spotify.
but um, but it's okay. I put it out there for people to hear. I have a message, and I want people to hear it. I wasn't doing it for the money. So
Yeah. And I appreciate that you even just said that you're not doing it for the money. I think a lot of people do get into music, especially rappers, to try to be like their their favorite famous rich rapper,
right,
and you seem to be more of it's like a expression of self, and to connect with other people. And if you make money, cool. If you don't make money, it's still cool to make the connection.
that's what it is. Yeah,
But
I have a
yeah.
day job. That's what pays the bills. I don't mind saying it, and that's kind of what I do music. Just real quick, that's why I always told people like it's like your music's different. I'm like, yeah, I think everybody's focused on the club, when in actuality, the club, if you go, may take up maybe 4 hours of your day. So I want to make
Mhm.
music for the other 20 hours of the day that you're not in the club, so to speak. And that's how I know some of that is not waking time, like your sleep, but even then, there's still subconscious is still active and things you need to think about and focus on. So for me, that 4 hours out the day that people want to focus all their music on, like 90% of the music that's being made is focused on that 4 hours, that
For
possible
real.
4 hours. I want to do music that focuses on the other 20 hours. So real life stuff, like everyday stuff, going to the grocery store and
Mm,
stuff like that. So like things that we all do, that we have to do.
yeah. Universal. Man, that's great. I love the way that you put that for the other 20 hours of the day. Because yeah, people don't think about that. It's just like you need music and art just like creates a mood, and a lot of times you need some kind of soundtrack to whatever you're doing, and for you to be able to provide that soundtrack, yeah, that's great. I think that's beautiful. So yeah, so thank you so much for joining us today. Anybody out there
Thank you.
watching, of course, if you want to find FarFetched, you can always go to wearefarfetched.net, and of course, we're on all those streaming platforms and things like that. But go listen to the build, go get you some good meditation music, and just music that you would probably want to suggest to your subconscious, so that over time you'll become a more positive person. Everybody, go pick that up for sure, or at least stream it. Uh, yeah, thank you again. I'm gonna let you go and then say peace to everybody out there. Until the next time.
Peace. Thanks.
Peace.